to one of our special pieces tonight. The pain of losing elections is yet to sink in many politicians who lost the August polls. Many who we spoke to have spent into tunes of millions but ended up losing. But how does that feel? Mike Kagungo spoke to a few who lost and those who won to understand the costly affair in Kenyan politics and find the story, power and brokers.
Every 5 years, Kenyans go to the polls to elect new leaders who serve mostly for a 5-year term. The 6 leadership positions, namely President, Governor, Member of National Assembly, Senator, Woman Representative and MCA, attract thousands of hopefuls due to the mouth-watering pay and allowance packages that come with them. To get those positions, some go to extreme limits, among them causing fights, as their supporters push for the election. Others use shortcuts to land nomination slots and continue with the same tricks during the general election so as to emerge victorious. A big number of those who happen to win political seats spend most of their time pursuing their interests, even forgetting the roles they were elected to play in the first place.
You know, as a politician, once you've entered politics, usually it happens that most of your constituents will always try to depend on you to solve some of their personal problems. And these personal problems span from things like funeral bills, hospital bills, education, people trying to even do personal development like houses. The ultimate expectation for these individuals is always that a politician will solve their personal problems.
As such, voters have lost faith in their leaders, majorly electing them for a 5-year term.
It's common knowledge that all politics is local. And the functions of a legislator are 1, representation, 2, oversight, 3, legislation, and 4, appropriation. So I think that if you overlook representation and oversight, the chances of being re-elected get narrow. Because the people don't feel represented and they don't feel that you are taking good care of their resources.
Without going to a second chance, is because when we have unity of interest, unity of working together as a people, that's what makes somebody to be elected once without going to the second part.
In order to be elected a member of county assembly, a candidate has to spend a lot of money, in some instances more than 6 million shillings to be elected. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 established a Salaries and Remuneration Commission to set and review the salaries of state office holders in the context of fairness across the board. In a new regulation, the Commission has proposed new figures. In a Gazette Notice number 8796 by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, effective from the financial year 2022-2023, the President will be taking home a basic salary of 866,250 shillings with a number of allowances ranging from house allowance amounting to 350,000 shillings, medical allowance of more than 10 million shillings annually, as the President's gross salary being of 1.4 million shillings, an upward adjustment of 227,400 shillings. For the second in command Deputy President will bag a gross salary of 1.2 million shillings, with a house allowance of 300,000 shillings and the salary adjustment being of 190,875 shillings. Both the President and Deputy President shall be provided with official transport in line with the prevailing government transport policy. As for the Member of Parliament, a salary increase of 134,000 shillings has been considered by SRC, with a gross salary tabulating to a total of 710,000 shillings and a house allowance of 150,000. MPs will also get a number of benefits: a motor vehicle reimbursement of 7.5 million for purchase of a car of engine capacity not exceeding 3,000 cc to undertake official duties as a member of parliament. However, for serving MPs, a number of benefits have been quashed, among them mileage and sitting allowance.
Money is very critical because money will give you some mileage, especially logistics. You need to travel, you need to traverse the county, you need to traverse your constituency to reach to the people and talk to them and sell your manifesto. So you have no money, you can't go. You need the cars, you need the fuel, you need so many other things. You need to brand yourself, you need wearables, you need t-shirts. And that's the way you can advertise yourself, and all that things get into money. Money is a serious issue that you need as a politician. So you cannot just run away from money.
At the county level, the governor will be receiving a gross salary of 924,000 shillings, an upward adjustment of 169,600 shillings, with the deputy governor pocketing a gross salary of 621,250 shillings, with a house allowance of 100,000 shillings, as the two receive vehicles from the state for commutants' purposes. At the county assembly, an MCA is allocated a house allowance of 45,000 shillings, with the gross salary being 144,375 shillings per month. A series of benefits will be availed to MCAs. SRC has abolished some benefits and allowances, including transport facilitation benefit in the form of a car grant and sitting allowance for plenary sessions. What is the reasoning behind an MCA candidate spending over 6 million shillings during campaigns, only to be paid 144,000 shillings, and an MP candidate spending more than 50 million shillings on the campaign trail to be paid 710,000 shillings per month?
My side, money did not help me. I was elected because people wanted me to serve them. And from the previous, what I've been doing to them, that's why they elected me. So if money was a factor, I don't know. But to me, I know people elected me because they know my potentiality. I can't really estimate, but it could be more than 2 million. Yeah, for campaign materials, and then of course there are other monies that you can't quantify. So normally, campaigns you cannot really do without money. But now the challenge, the biggest challenge is now the money that you need to bribe the voters. That one I didn't choose.
Nilitumia takriban shilingi milioni 6 ama labda zaidi. Milioni 6 na zaidi. Sasa unajua, ukitaka uishi vizuri kwenye siasa, hizi hesabu za siasa za mapeni usiweke rekodi. Don't keep records of your expenditures in politics. Kukienda vibaya vile kumeenda vibaya, mimi unaweza pata wazimu. Mkupuko wa kapanda, damu ikachemka, pressure zikapanda. Kwa hivyo nakisia kwamba ni zaidi shilingi milioni 6, kwa sababu sina rekodi kamili, and it's not advisable as a politician to keep records.
We are not able to, to keep records and quantify the amount of money that we use. We are not able to tell how much I would tell you 10 million, it would be a lie. I would tell you 20 million, it would be a lie. But I spent, a considerable amount of money, probably all my life saving. I am here to do an audit, to be very honest. I like being very honest because in my election, I had a lot of in-kind donations. And this basically means that most of my friends were helping me with things like logistical support. So somebody will donate for you a car, somebody will donate for you a fuel for card, a card for fuel, and somebody will donate for you things like merchandise, which actually is the biggest part of any campaign. Logistics and merchandise are the biggest part for our campaign. So I'm here to do that audit, but on average, I think for somewhere like Migori County, where I was vying this time around, I think that I did not spend. The average could be if once I do my entire audit, because it's actually a requirement that you need to do an audit in 3 months after the election and submit it to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So I'll do that, but I think that I'm projecting an average of about 10 to 15 million.
Politics across the world is money driven. The only thing that there's need for transparency on the sources of that money. If you saw the recent elections in the US were extremely expensive. But people know money has been donated by this and that. But now in Kenya, the difference is that most of the money financing politics is criminal. It's money that has gotten from criminal enterprises, and there's non-disclosure of who is supporting who. So that you end up with people coming, you take their money, then you elect them, and they're captive to forces you don't understand.
In Kenya, campaign financing laws and regulations are rarely enforced. Some new rules were recently proposed, but politicians are keen to avoid discussing electoral expenditure. They know that winning elections is more about spending money and then making money than worrying about constituents' well-being or coming up with a compelling political ideology. However, access to Kenya's political spheres is based on affluence rather than passion or aptitude.
Basically, I can say each constituency is different from the other. You cannot have a perfect fit. So the issue of campaigns varies from one constituency to another. So unajua hii ni kuchipanga na siasa lazima uchipanga. So depending on the dynamics that are there in your constituency, you need kuchipanga so that at least you are able to handle those dynamics. So the issue of money in a campaign, it has been with us since independence, and I doubt whether it will disappear. Okay, in some instances, the electors are also nowadays very clever, so they can sometimes say, let us assist someone because they have a good policies, although they don't have money, but they just say, let us assist so that we see whether they can be able to deliver. So
we worked very hard. I was a very hard-working candidate. I would not lie that I was sleeping. I was doing 5 churches a Sunday. I was doing 10-15 meetings a night because I was using the philosophy of a person with a tractor and another one who was digging with a hoe. If you have a tractor, you can wait until the rains are coming. If you are digging with a hoe, you have to start early. So I was working hard because I may not have the money that was standing for me.
Former Siboti MCA in Bungoma County's Bumula constituency wa Musai Simiyu says besides a politician having money for campaigns, their party boosts election chances.
Kwa hivyo katika siasa za Kenya, siasa za magharibi na hususan siasa za Bungoma, chama kinachangia pakubwa sana. Na kama ni Bungoma, chama cha Ford Kenya na chama cha UDA kwa sasa ndivyo vyama ambavyo vimeshamiri na kukita mizizi katika kaunti ya Bungoma.
If you have a leader who is working, because we have good leaders and bad leaders. If you get a good leader, it's only fair that you give that person an opportunity. But basically, even for those who lost this election, you know that most of those who lost in this election are good leaders who made bad political decisions. They joined the wrong political parties.
Like me, I was elected on a small party which I formed just before the elections because I found that I could not fit in either Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. And so I formed my own small party called the National Reconstruction Alliance. And I was able to fight the wave of Azimio in Busia successfully and succeed. But if I had gone maybe to ODM, I would even have not needed to campaign. I would just have had a free ride. But I saw that I did not have accommodation full accommodation in Azimio. Either they have full accommodation in Kenya Kwanza. So I said, let me do it my own way.
What causes politicians to be elected for one term and get thrown out?
Swala kwamba viongozi kuhudumu muhula mmoja tu na kungolewa lipo, na ni wazi kwamba kama alitoweza kushughulikiwa litakita mizizi, na swala hili si zuri kwa sababu lina haribu mwelekeo wa maendeleo, linaharibu mipangilio ambayo kiongozi ameweka katika uongozi wake, kwa sababu kuna azima ambayo nilikuwa nayo, kuna ndoto ambayo nilikuwa nayo, na kuna mipangilio ambayo tayari nilikuwa nishaipanga.
Over 80 senators and MPs never made it to the 4th Senate and 13th Parliament respectively. The non-re-election of leaders greatly affects development projects initiated during their time in office.
Well, the only problem is that the one-term MP, being serving for one term usually cuts short, there's no institutional memory carried forward. And you'll see like those constituencies that have a culture of one term sometimes lag behind, or people go there and they feel that, okay, I only have one term, therefore why should I work? Why don't I use the one term to do my own things? Yet when you have re-election is a possibility, then you find that people tend to want to work hard so that they can go back.
So I believe whoever has been elected needs to plan within those 5 years so that whichever projects he comes up with are the ones that he's able to finish, so that when we are seeking the other term, at least the projects that were done with it, that had been proposed within this current term, we are through with them.
Kidogo tunapochukua hatamu za uongozi tunasahau kwamba kuna watangulizi wetu, kuna kazi ambayo ilikuwa imeratibiwa na hata fedha kutengwa. Na unapoingia afisini, mara nyingi viongozi wengi anaingia kwa pupa na kufikiria kwamba mawazo ya wengine si muhimu. Na anapoanza kuratibu kazi, anaratibu kazi na kubagua kazi ambazo tayari zishatengwa maratibiwa, kwa sababu anaona kwamba ni maono ya mtu mwingine.
According to Busia Senator Okoiti Omtata, there is a need for awareness to be created among voters so as they get to understand the importance of continuity in leadership.
But also what I'm saying is that sometimes we lack political education for people to know the roles of the various offices, and such that people then vote for you expecting this, and when they don't get, they can get frustrated. Like there's a general perception that a member of parliament or an MCA, a member of the county assembly, is a local cash box. Is that not who attends to emergencies and whatever, not knowing that these are supposed to be functions of the state, and even school fees the people expect you to pay and things like those. So usually I don't think people have understood the role that legislators and legislatures play in the political polity.
IBC shows that we have got 22 million voters in Kenya. That means that there are 8 million people who did not vote, who could have gone either way. That means that the country is extremely divided on different political organizational lines, as well as different tribal lines. But there is no anywhere where you can foster nationalhood, as well as brotherhood, as well as lasting peace, without fostering unity among the people. And that unity, as my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has always said, that unity will always go with truth and reconciliation.
Some of the constituencies where MPs have served for only one term include Teto in Nyeri, Bumula in Bungoma, and Cherangani in Trans Nzoia County. Now, Kenyan voters have the next 5 years to gauge whether they will vote for the current crops of leaders come 2027. But to put it simply, if you want to win a political position in Kenya, be rich and spend big. The more you spend, the greater your chances of winning. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47, Nairobi.